Joining me now on TelecomTV is Mark Whiteway, Head of Sales Europe for Lumina Networks. Mark, thanks for joining us today on TelecomTV. As the industry moves away from a proprietary-first approach to network architectures, service providers are beginning to learn a lot about how to thrive with open source. But what work still needs to be done in order to ready off-the-shelf code for production?
I think the key is actually moving from proof of concept into productization. And as we see, a lot of our customers are now asking us to get more focused on scale. So scale is absolutely critical for these guys as they see the multitude of devices that they need to manage in a much better way from a service automation and control perspective. So I think that's one of the key things that we're looking at we've had this journey from physical functions to virtual functions, and now moving into the world of containerization. And I think one of the areas that we're focused on is how do we get that scale across all, because we're not going to see some of those legacy devices disappear overnight. So we have to cater for all aspects of that.
What have we learned about device onboarding and integration in multi-layer, multi-domain environments where we have this mix of legacy and new network resources?
It's a complex world. So what we're seeing is there needs to be far greater effort, I think, from the open source community in interoperability. And I think we talked a little bit today about the movement of standards bodies and open source coming together. And I think that's a key initiative, because what we see is the need to have much more standardization, but yet that agility and speed of innovation and creativity that you've got with open source. And I think the result of those two coming together, that happy marriage of both the open source and the standards bodies, could create some real benefits for the CSPs as we see them today.
And how does the approach to security change in an open source environment?
I think we as an open source community need to, and as Lumina, we're focusing much more heavily on the security aspects of what we're doing as an organization, and putting much more attention to detail into the development of the securities and the hardening of what we put out there. So as we see the open source projects come in and those communities collaborating, there needs to be far greater focus in that area, so that our customers can be assured that what they're actually taking from a subscription perspective is secure and will provide them the carrier grade services that they are used to.
So what is the reality of scaling open source in production?
So I think that what we're seeing is the need for greater collaboration across the spectrum of open source projects and communities. So for example, Open Daylight incorporating some aspects of ONAP, for example, is a great way of actually solution baking some of the solutions that are out there in that open source community to make it much more consumable for our customers, as opposed to expecting these guys to come up with the glue that joins these open source projects together. And I think that is one of the focus areas for us as a company, and I think it should be for the communities at large to get greater cohesion between all of the disparate pieces of the open source world.
Mark, thank you very much indeed.
Great, thank you very much.